Well, as we got an update on the municipal side with Quinte West and Belleville and their public libraries, joining us is the co-owner David Sweet of Books and Company in downtown Picton, a place to go for not only all sorts of books, but really unique collections, both used and new. And joining us, David, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here.
How are things going right now as a small business that's grappling with the online world, now ramped up more than ever?
Yeah, it's certainly been an interesting 2 months or so now. Initially, when we had to be closed, well, one of the first things we did, we have a great big window at the front of the storage, you know. So we found a banner and we just put www.pictonbookstore.com on the banner and put it in the window just to let everyone know we have a website. You can order on that. You know, all our stock is listed there. And initially, well, the first couple of weeks, things were pretty quiet, but then it picked up. Online orders started to come in on a regular basis, and still online orders, phone orders, email orders. At this point, we're being really cautious with how we handle things. Basically, we're doing what we call private shopping, in that we're only allowing 2 or 3 people into the store at a time. And one of the staff is with them while they shop, just so, as we've been saying to people, as everyone used to say to their children, look with your eyes, not with your hands. So everyone gets their own personal shopper when they come into the store. It's of course not as busy as it would be in a normal time, but still we're chugging along. Yeah.
Have you experienced puzzle mania?
We certainly did. Just before we had to shut down, one of the companies, a puzzle company that we deal with, we had ordered in what we considered basically to be enough puzzles to get us through the spring and the summer tourist season and into the early fall. Those puzzles were gone in no time at all. And we have, I don't know how many reorders we've placed in the last couple of months. There was a period there when Puzzle Mania was at its height. Our stock was getting a little low, but now with the nicer weather, it's dropped off a bit. You know, people are now more into, our book sales have increased. But yeah, I think a lot of it is people are now outside gardening or doing more outside activities. So puzzles aren't quite as prominent as they were, but they're still selling very well.
Well, that's good to hear. And you've been a fixture at 289 Main Street in downtown Picton. We're all adapting to certain question marks still around, but the one thing
Yeah.
remains the same. It is June. It is the start of National Indigenous History Month. As a store owner who does have the Downy Wenjack room at the back of your store, we're also, you know, I mean, the last week has been wild. The images that we've seen protesting the death of George Floyd and others, and really calling to action and making sure we're all educated in this new normal, but also a bit more with detail and purpose about the treatment of Black, Indigenous, and people of color across the world right now.
Yes.
So with this, David, you know, I really enjoy your store because there's a breadth of books you just can't get anywhere else, but especially the Indigenous section as well. So with this, David, would you mind sharing some books that have caught your eye as we all strive to better educate ourselves in how we can treat people properly and justly going forward?
It's funny. There are 2 that have similar titles. One is The Skin We're In, and the subtitle of that book is A Year of Black Resistance and Power by Desmond Cole, who is a Canadian. He was a journalist with the Toronto Star. He still works as a journalist, but more as a broadcaster now. And he basically just focuses on 1 year, I think 2017, where he chronicled stories of racism that he witnessed and that he investigated across Canada. There's also another book called The Skin I'm In, which is a young adult novel, and it's about a young woman who feels just uncomfortable living in her community. And although it's a multicultural community, she feels uncomfortable because of her skin color and the effect that it has on all of them. There's also there's a book out. It just came out. Well, actually, it's a couple of years old now, but it's getting a lot of publicity right now, called White Fragility, and the subtitle is Why It's So Hard for White People to Think About Racism. And the point of the book, as the author has said, it's not to make white people feel guilty. It's just to make them aware. Sometimes things that we can say or do, and we don't realize, we don't even think about the effect that it may have on a person of color around us. So it's an excellent book to learn.
All right, David, before we end on a sweet note, Miss Lily's Cafe, what's the status with all the pastries and coffee over there?
Well, the status is that we will be opening Lily's Cafe again for takeout, coffee and tea and pastries and all the yummy baked goods, all the big cookies that people have been missing, and the muffins. And
all right.
Lots of people out there have been asking for our coffee.
Yeah, your coffee is very good. I can attest to that. David Sweet, the co-owner of Books and Company in downtown Picton, a place to go if you want it for a snack, a really good lunch, but also when things get going, some fantastic books as well. But in the meantime, make sure you listen and learn more from David. And David, really appreciate the time. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Lindsay.